Hello YouTube, back at it again with another video. So this week we're going to go over some World Cup soccer, some NASCAR, some World Rugby, and some UFC. We didn't really cover the UFC in the last video, make predictions on the fight night, but we'll talk about it and just go from there. But anyways, so this weekend is pretty slow for sports. Obviously we got some NASCAR racing, no rugby this weekend. The World Cup's over. Just slow weekend. Obviously there's some Major League Baseball on, but yeah, just a slow weekend for sports. So next week's video might look a little different. We're going to talk about gambling and just how far it has come. I was looking the other day. I did it TikTok live, and I was just looking the stuff you can gamble on, dude. You can bet on the weather. You can bet on anything, and it's just crazy because it's right at the tip of your fingers, and just so many people just gambling their life away. And, seeing $75,000 being put on the weather in Los Angeles is kind of crazy to me. So we'll talk about more about that in the next video. I hope y'all join because we're gonna start doing stuff like that, just more off-topic videos of on sports topics, but just not covering the week in sports because obviously this doesn't seem to be working. I need to make more content that is diverse and can be watched different dates, different weeks. But anyways, let's dive into this. We saw the World Cup final this weekend. Just straight up defensive game. Spain was getting them shots off, but Martinez, Argentina's goalkeeper, was I think he had 14 or 12 to 14 saves. He was just killing it in the box, but just wasn't ultimately good enough to come off with a red. After with the red card and Spain scoring late into the game to give them their second World Cup title. 2010 was their last one. That was the first World Cup that I watched. Um, it was a good match, dude. I was really Spain was staying in my hometown, so it was kind of I messed with them. Argentina has Messi, and just wanted to see him get one last title in. So I was just really happy for both teams. Honestly, happy to see both teams succeed. We'll go over to the stats and just look at Kylian Mbappe with the Golden Boot, 10 goals total, scoring two in that goal fest with England. We see 4 to 6. I mean, Saka had a hat trick, scoring in the 87th minute, and then Jude Bellingham scoring in +8. So yes, two stoppage time goals in the past 90 minutes. Dembele and Jude Bellingham. So that's crazy right there. I mean, it gets you thinking, wondering, it's like, hey, did they throw this so Mbappe could get the golden boot? I just playing. This is conspiracies, but all around is good tournament, dude. I really enjoyed this tournament. I'm glad it was in America. I'm glad to see how popular it's getting. I'm glad to see, more people open to watching it. Like my grandparents are even saying, "Oh, I didn't know how aggressive it was." Because I mean, it gets off on a bad rep because we got American football and stuff. But just all around, great tournament. So we're gonna go over here and look through the groups, and I'm just gonna give my 2 cents of a couple of teams in each group, the surpriser and the faller. So in Group A, my surprise is South Africa. South Africa, this is their first World Cup since 2010. So who knew what they would do? But finishing second in the pool is great, especially with Mexico, dude. I mean, Mexico balled out this tournament. They didn't have the toughest group, and when they faced the real challenges, they lost. But it was still, great performance by South Africa. That's my riser for the group. I mean, I expected Mexico to be successful in this group. Obviously, I really thought they would go undefeated. South Korea would have been the only real test, but it's all around great match. Well, great tournament for South Africa, and they have a lot to improve on, especially with the World Cup going to 64 teams. I expect to see them back in 4 years. And the faller in this group is Korea. I mean, they were my picks to be second in this group. I mean, they could have won this group. They could have. I mean, that goal against Mexico where the ball just flew through the keeper's hands is just that's kind of what eliminated them. But you know, still good performance by Korea. Getting that win over Czech Republic. Still, that was a tough match. This is a solid little group. Think about it. South Africa finishing second, and it's just unbelievable. But Yeah, I mean, Korea was definitely the team that I thought was going to get second place. I mean, Son, I mean, they've always had great performances in the World Cup, eliminating Germany. Just solid performances all around. But this is just, yeah, that's exactly why they're my faller in Group B. Over to Group, well, over to Group B now. Switzerland, hey, Switzerland's, Switzerland, hey, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, they're a solid team. They're a good team. I don't know if I would pick them as my risers. I would say probably Canada. I mean, they hosted the World Cup, obviously. Canada missing their star player, Alfonso Davies. So they had a lot on their shoulders. So I'm going to have to give my risers to Canada. Oh, solid performance in the World Cup. Obviously struggling with Bosnia, um, beating Qatar, and losing to Switzerland. But yeah, it's a good performance by Canada. Switzerland's obviously the better team in the groups. I mean, I can't give my risers to it. It's something expected. But I will say my fallers is there's really no faller in this group. I mean, Qatar is expected to be last place, so I guess they could be my faller. Let's go over to Group C. I mean, this was a kind of a tough one to pick because Canada and Bosnia both did shockingly good. But yeah, let's go over. But Canada did make it to the round of 16, so that's obviously my riser. My riser here is Brazil. Honestly, I did not expect them to finish in front of Morocco. I thought Brazil was struggling. I didn't think Brazil would, have the good as a run as they did in group play. But yeah, I just honestly did not expect them to get past Morocco in group. My fallers, there's really, like I said, no fallers in this group. I mean, Scotland is kind of not expected to make the round of 32, but I mean, they could be the fallers of this group. I mean, yeah, it's probably going to be Scotland for this group. All right, Group D, USA, dude, the best performance they've had in years. I mean, then no doubt, they're the risers of this group, making it to the round of 16. Struggling with Belgium, who would have thought? Last 2014 throwback, but yeah, it's good performance from the USA all around, showing the improvement. They really need to hone in on a style of football because this European style of football they've been running with is not it. They played with more passion, back in the 2014, 2010s, 26, 2006 World Cup. So they need to go back to that mentality. It's just not the same as it was back then. You can see that they're not playing with as much passion. And the fallers for this group would be Turkey. Just a terrible performance from them. You expected so much more from them. Honestly, to even finish second or first in this group, but they just struggled and just terrible performance by Turkey. All right, over to Group E. I will have to give my. There's really no fallers in this group, but my risers are probably going to be Ivory Coast. I mean, they beat a South American team. Had a solid little run in the World Cup. I mean, just yeah, it has to be Ivory Coast. Wasn't a real group I kept up with much. Our risers in this group, ah, Japan did a good. I mean, Japan had a good World Cup. I will give them that. They shocked Belgium. Well, Netherlands drawing with them. Um, I mean, yeah, just a solid World Cup from Japan. Honestly, it's really all I got to say about that group. Not really much to say, honestly. They just, had a solid little World Cup, honestly. Risers in this group. I will say the fallers. I mean, there's expected, but the fallers in this group would probably be Iran, just because they were kind of expected to go on, but yeah, they struggled. Struggled with New Zealand. Struggled with Belgium. They could have pulled out a win here. They just didn't. Rises in this group, obviously Cape Verde. 3 draws. You know, Unbelievable performance by their goalkeeper. battling it out with Argentina. And hey, just an ultimate all over great performance for Cape Verde. So yeah, definitely the risers. I hope to see their players go over to European teams, get bigger contracts, and just ultimately grow football in Cape Verde. So good for them. And the fallers in Uruguay. Fallers got to be Uruguay. Just terrible performance. Um, yeah, just not expecting. Honestly, they should have beat Cape Verde. They should have been second in this group, but they didn't even make it out of group play. Terrible performance by Cape Verde. Well, Uruguay. I have to give my risers to Norway just because it was their first World Cup in years, and they did pretty good. They did pretty good for playing at this level. First time I think in 30 years. Holland just look at that, 7 goals from Holland, dude. So he really balled out for Norway. Austria had a good little World Cup, so I'll give them the risers for Group J, and Algeria fallers for Group J. The risers for Group K, well, Congo. Congo had a great World Cup. I mean, unexpected to make it even this far. Their game against Uzbekistan, the one that I went to, they balled out, dude. They were balling. So good on them for winning that game and just getting them to where they are today. Well, where they finished today. So great for them. And then risers, and I mean, there's really no risers. This is kind of an expected finish, but I will have to say Croatia because they just had a good World Cup. Solid. I mean, didn't finish the way they expected. It would have been a lot better if they would have beat England, but I'll give them my rising performance. So that's it from the World Cup, and we'll wrap it up there. So hop on over to NASCAR. Joey Logano winning over at North Wilkesboro, getting his first win of the year. What you do? Not the biggest Joey fan, so yeah, I was happy about that. Not Denny Hamlin's still leading in points. Ryan Blaney's starting to catch up in. Todd Gibbs is, having the season of his life running in fourth. Toyota's just balling out. So, you know, what much can we say about that? Good performances from Toyota this year, balling it out. Joey just dominated the race. I think he won by like 6 seconds, and there's only 6 cars on the lead lap at time of the finish. So just great performance by him. It's good to see these old tracks coming back. Carson Hosefar moving up, and big shout out to SVG for a top 15 or top 5 finish. And Joey Logano's moving his way up into the playoffs, well, the chase. So definitely keep an eye out for this battle in the back of the field for the chase. Inching up on there, dude. So we'll see if he can keep it up. He's not the most consistent driver, so well, who knows? Let's go over to the in-season challenge, where my bracket is completely busted. The championship will be between Todd Gilliland and Ryan Blaney. Who would have thought? Two Fords. But, if Todd Gilliland can pull this off, it might have a huge upset on our hands, because who would have thought Todd Gilliland would make it this far? Crazy performance right there for him. Let's see. Yeah, just a good run. Look at who he had to beat, all right? Daniel Suarez, Carson Hosefar, Alex Bowman, and Chase Elliott. If he can beat Ryan Blaney, what a run! All right, we'll go over here to fantasy. Set up my fantasy team to make my picks for Indy. Yeah, two more uses of Chase. I'm gonna rock Reddick, Hosefar, Briscoe, and I want to save Blaney, but I'm gonna put. Call me crazy, but I'm gonna put Todd Gilliland in. Chase over Joey, Seabell over Bubba, Hosefar over Klazowski. My pick for the win, I have to give it to a Toyota. So I'm gonna have to say Danny Hamlin's gonna win this weekend at Indianapolis. We'll see if I'm right. Hopefully I'm right. Still almost breaking the top 100,000. That's like I said. If you've been keeping up with me, that's been my goal. Still first in my league. We got 10, 20, 14 races left. So if we can hold on to where we're at, keep pushing forward, I think we can break the top 100,000 by the end of the season. So let's jump over here into the Nations Cup. Romania, 1 point edging out over Samoa. I was kind of nervous about that one. So, I'm still right. Upset for Hong Kong when they just went in and just shocked Uruguay. So, I was kind of shocked by that one. They didn't do so hot against Chile, and they just come out here and thrax Uruguay, essentially. It's not look like a thraxing, but the gameplay footage will make it look like one. Georgia over Chile. Close win. Portugal over Tonga, closer than I thought. And USA edging out Spain, which I was shocked about. Dude, I was real happy about that. And I was also surprised about Canada over Zimbabwe. Maybe it's because they're playing in Canada. I thought just because of how physical and close the US game was, Canada would have struggled a lot more. But they played pretty good. So big shout out to Canada. Let's take a look at the pools as we close out the first half of the Nations League. It'll go back next year where they'll finish up. But USA leading their group. Big shocker there. Honestly, I'm hugely impressed by how they're performing. And then obviously Georgia, the Republic of Georgia up top there. Georgia's probably the most dominant team in this group. Well, in this whole competition. If there's a championship match, I think Georgia will beat the United States, obviously. So let's go over here to the Nations Championship. They won't get back until November, but July 17th. I don't know what's going on. Oh, there you go. So I was a bigger blowout than I thought, with New Zealand beating Ireland by almost 20 points, and France doing the same to Japan. Australia destroying Italy. Scotland with an expected win over Fiji. And then that's what I mean, dude. South Africa, well, South Africa is just probably the best team in the world right now, but Wales is just struggling. I've been talking about how Wales have been struggling over the years, past few years, and they just ultimately struggled extremely tough against South Africa, obviously. And then England edging out Argentina and what was a close match. Scored wise, it wasn't close, but the match was impressive. It was a great match. Good defense from Argentina. Just couldn't hold it there at the end. So we'll see what Argentina can do later on. We saw them beat England in soccer, so I guess they had to get their comeback somehow. So let's go over here to the UFC. DDP beating Kamaru Usman was the big fight of that weekend, and my boy Chase Hooper beating Mitch Ramirez. That was a solid little fight card for fight night. Kevin Holland was supposed to be there. That'd have been crazy. But yeah, ultimately, a solid little fight card for a UFC fight night right there. And I think the next one will be July 25th. So this weekend, all right. Mogman's definitely winning that one. Two Mogmans fighting. All right, maybe. I thought there was going to be three. Good lord. No, that's a mouthful of a name. I think Steve Ector is going to beat Ramazanbrek. Could be wrong, but and then I've got Islam Dolatov over Wellington Truman. So those are my picks for the UFC. I appreciate y'all sticking around. I hope y'all like and subscribe and join me on my next video where I dive deeper into just other topics. We're gonna talk about gambling next week, and yeah, I appreciate y'all sticking around, and we'll see y'all next time.